This is Grief and Grit, from heartache to high fives with a dash of sass. The podcast that turns the tables on traditional grief talks with a fresh, sassy spin. Listen in for candid conversations about the messy, awkward, and downright hilarious aspects of dealing with loss. Because sometimes the best way to cope is with a little laughter and a lot of grit.
Welcome to Grief and Grit. This episode is part of a special series on suicide and mental health, released during Suicide Prevention Month. Suicide impacts far too many families, and yet it's often a conversation met with silence and stigma. By sharing stories of loss, resilience, and hope, we want to create space for honesty, healing, and connection. If you or someone you love is struggling, please know you are not alone. You can dial 988 in the U.S. for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline to be connected with support right away. We are honored to bring these conversations to light and thank today's guest for bravely sharing their story. Hi, Simony.
Hi, Greer. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good.
We haven't seen each other in a little while.
It's been a while. I think summer does that, right?
Yeah.
Kind of cut off from all the people that we love and see all the time.
Right.
Because we're so busy trying to have this fabulous summer.
I know. It's very bizarre because I feel like the school year is supposed to be the busy time of year, but somehow summer has felt insane this year.
Right.
I don't know if it's because of the lack of routine or what, but it's flown by and I've missed you.
I know, I've missed you too. And I've missed all this.
I
I've
know.
missed everyone listening to us. So
Same.
good to be back, everyone. And
Yeah.
thank you for tuning in.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So September, we are focusing on the topic of suicide.
Mm-hmm.
September is Suicide Awareness Month to bring awareness to the topic from a mental health perspective. And we at Grief and Grit are also trying to support all of the loved ones who have been impacted by
Correct.
suicide. This is, as we all know, grief in general is a taboo subject. People don't feel comfortable being open about it and talking about it. And we are here to break all of those barriers down. This is a part of living and loving. And we are here to share stories directly from those who have been impacted.
Exactly. Absolutely. And to bring honor to the memories of those who are no longer here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So today we have a really special guest.
Very.
She's a new friend to me. However, she has known me since I was a baby. And and today we have Lynn Handmacher Chanin here to share with us about her son Ben, who she lost by suicide. And we are so sorry that this is why you're here. We hate that. We are grateful that you are here to share your story with us and so that we can learn more about Ben. I love hearing and seeing stories and pictures on social media, and now more people get to learn. So thank you.
So thank you for being here, Lynn. And I will say, I think Lynn's a new friend to me for sure, to both of us. So thank you. I know that it's not always easy being vulnerable, not always easy telling a story, but I'm sure you'll agree that's one way that we can all honor the memory of the people we love the most.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for being here, Lynn. And if we can start off by, we didn't know Benjamin, unfortunately, and most of our listeners didn't know him. So if we could just start off, if you want to share a little bit about who he was, what he meant, what he was to the world.
Thank you, Simony. Yes, which is actually the most important thing in my heart and soul, is that he's remembered. That's the one thing I think that mothers want who have lost a child, that they're remembered as long as I'm breathing and walking the earth. my Benjamin will be remembered.
Absolutely.
Thank you for asking me about him first. So he was born, wanted, we tried one time and there he was. After three sisters,
Oh, wow.
and they were 5, 7, and 9 when he was born, and they could not wait to see him. They would say, hurry up and hurry up and hurry up. They would talk to him in utero. So the moment he came out, he knew their voices. He immediately had 4 mothers.
Oh,
I believe that.
His feet did not touch the ground for probably 3 or 4 years. They carried him to the potty, picked him up, and took him off the potty. They cherished and adored him, which are things that I have tried to share with my 4 children, that you need to be cherished and adored,
yes.
by a partner, by friends, by your parents. So he truly was wanted and cherished and adored. He had the biggest, most incredible smile and exquisite dimples that you could eat cereal out of.
Aw.
One of his teachers would not stop kissing him, and he would come home and say, "Mom, she won't stop kissing me." And I took that as just deliciousness,
Yes,
that she
absolutely.
cherished and adored him.
Yes.
My 4 children went to the Galloway School. They were all lifers, except for Benjamin. He passed before his junior year. It was a lovely place for nurturing and very beautiful, lovely community. And I love that he went to school with his 3 sisters and had teachers that they all had because they knew the Chanin kids,
All right.
which always honored me. So again, he was so happy. And I've always been very mindful of, I've been in therapy since I was a kid, and I think therapy is for healthy people. So I've tried to be mindful of how they're feeling. We would have family meetings, me and my 4 children on Sunday, and say, okay, tell me the best part of your week and the worst part of your week, so that they could keep lines of communication open. As we got older, sadly, I let that fall by the wayside. But I would still try to check in with all 4 of them individually. And plus, they had each other. What a gift, right?
Absolutely.
3 sisters and then a little brother who they just was the king.
All right.
And I think as I look back, 2020, right? We know about hindsight. I saw some things now as I looked back that would have told me that there were some signs about some anxiety and some depression. He was big into theater, which I know Simony is. And
My kind of boy.
yeah, his theater was at Galloway was his second home. He was a dancer and a singer and a theater buff. And so he was in middle school theater there and upper learning theater. And I want to share that his last performance was in April of 2010, and he played Mark in a chorus line. And I remember he auditioned in January. He couldn't wait. Mom, I hope I get it. I hope I get it. And he did, which I had no doubt.
Yeah.
He was so incredible. I know I'm biased, and I'm also objective.
I have no doubt.
As all moms are.
Yes.
That's right.
And he was so remarkable, singing and dancing and performing, and he was so at home on stage. I do remember one time in middle school, he was in the mattress. What's the
Once Upon a Mattress. Yes.
And when they came out for the second half, he wasn't there, and one of the teachers came to get me, and I went to the back to the dressing room. He said, "Mom, I have a stomach ache." So he had them for a little bit. So I immediately took him to CHOA. And, as I look back now, why didn't I say, let's go talk to, actually, let me back up. I did take him to my therapist, actually. At his bar mitzvah, the morning of his bar mitzvah, he was 13. It was in November. He had a little meltdown. And I thought, oh gosh, well, yeah, who wouldn't, right? It's a lot of stress.
Yeah.
You've
Oh
got
my
all,
gosh, you're
you've,
13
you've
and
got all this performing, you've got all this Hebrew, you've got
Correct.
then a party at night, and very stressful. And so I didn't really, I tucked it underneath, underneath the hood a little bit. And then he had another one not too much longer after that. So I took him to my therapist. And then I learned in my grief group that whether you're an adult or a child, or a teenager, you only tell your therapist what you want your therapist to know.
Yes.
And he was quite bright and quite sharp and quite aware and mindful and had so much emotional intelligence and knew what not to tell, I think. This is my belief. So I did take him to the therapist. And again, as I said earlier, I did see signs from when he was about 13. And smart, oh my gosh, smart as a whip. He told me he wanted to be a pediatrician. And then I found out when he passed that he whizzed through chemistry, which I can't even look at chemistry. I don't even know
Me
what
too.
it is.
I don't know how to spell it.
Yeah, I couldn't spell it either.
Yeah.
So
And that's amazing that he had the theater brain.
both
and
sides of the brain.
It's
Simony, I thought the
amazing.
same thing.
Yeah.
So kind and compassionate and empathic, and yet super smart and super emotionally intelligent and creative and precious and just an angel face. That's what I called him, angel face. And honey bunny bear. That's
Yeah.
what I called him too.
Those are cute.
And then one morning, he didn't wake up. And of course, shock. He was studying for his SATs. He had the SAT tutor that morning. And so we thought it was his heart because suicide was not on the table. I had known a few people who had taken their lives over the years. And I just knew the only thing I knew about it was that they were in so much pain and they just wanted the pain to end. That's really all I knew about, really about mental health. Although I'd been to therapy all this time, but actually I never talked about suicide. And so we thought at first maybe it was his heart. We took our daughters to get their heart checked the next day. And then his funeral was on Wednesday. So he passed on a Monday morning. And then my daughters found 6 notes on his laptop during Shiva. And he apologized to all of us. He wrote one to each of us and then one to the whole family, and saying that he had struggled with anxiety and depression, and he said, "Aren't I a good actor, Mom? I hid it from you." And he was an amazing actor. I mean, he did beautifully on stage. And then, yes, Benjamin, you hid it so well from the world, because he could walk into a room and his smile lit it up. And I told you about those dimples that you could eat cereal out of. So I immediately found a support group. I heard about it. They actually came to Galloway. They did a memorial for Benjamin, and the link was there
Oh, yes.
in Sandy Springs.
Yeah, that's a local resource here in Atlanta.
Correct.
Yes.
It's now my second home.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd heard about it in between going to the cemetery every day for hours and hours and just telling Benjamin how sorry I was that I couldn't save him. I found out about the link, and they were amazing. They helped save my life. Yeah. They did just a private interview with me, and then I started going to the group, which was every week at different times. And I went every single week, more afternoon and evenings. And the first 3 years, I just cried for an hour and a half. I couldn't say my name or Benjamin's name. And they would tell us, don't take anyone else's pain home with you. Well, I don't know how to do that.
Right.
And I certainly didn't then. The link helped save my life. That support group, it's called SOS, Survivors of Suicide. It helped save my life. And I found such amazing resources there. There were so many different kinds of mental health issues, right? People who knew for years that their loved one, a child or a teenager or an adult, their loved one was depressed, was on meds, they were in and out of facilities. I learned a lot about mental health institutions and how sad and some were so incompetent, which broke my heart. And the meds and how there's no perfect cocktail. And so it really showed me that there is no way of knowing 100%.
It's like physical health in the way that no two people are the same.
Right.
And the way that we treat two people is never the same.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that, they didn't do this to us. right? This wasn't something that they even thought about us when they were in that dark space. All they could think about was the same thing I knew even before any of this was ever on the table, that they were just trying to stop the pain.
Yeah.
And they didn't know how to talk about it. And some people did. Some people were able, some loved ones were able to talk to their loved ones about it. And yet they still took their lives. And something I learned that I thought was so important was we're not going to prevent suicide. We're not going to. Like, we're not going to prevent cancer or car accidents or heart disease.
Right.
We can help prevent, and we can do the best that we can with awareness, talking.
Exactly. And for the taboo to be lifted off it.
Stop the stigma.
That
100%.
it's an illness.
Right. Correct.
Mental illness is an illness.
It's an illness, just like the flu or cancer or diabetes.
100%.
And you wouldn't hide from that, nor would you blame someone for having diabetes or heart disease.
Correct.
I'm all about changing the words to the language. Words matter, language matters. And I am not beyond stopping someone if they say the word committed. I say, excuse me, but we don't use that word anymore. It's not a crime.
Right.
This is, right, you wouldn't say committed cancer or committed heart disease. You would say they died by. And so I try to share that with the world, that we use the word died by suicide or took their lives. So with that group that I was in for a decade or more, I also joined American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. So I was a volunteer, I still am. One of those committees is called Healing Conversations. So I'm given the name of someone who's newly bereaved. Usually they give me someone whose child took their life so that they can relate more to me. So I'm honored to do that. I usually get one call a month, which is too much, but unfortunately,
So I know when I did something similar for women who had terminated a wanted pregnancy for medical reasons, one thing, again, taking that their pain home, it's something really hard. Has that been triggering for you in terms of being a peer mentor almost to other parents who have experienced this type of loss?
Not a trigger. When I help someone and I'm talking to them about it, I can certainly empathize, right? Because it's a similar loss. Sometimes I'll cry because my grief is on the surface. It's right underneath. I've realized that my joy and my grief now live side by side.
Yes,
they can.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have 3 fabulous daughters. I have 5 amazing grandjewels who are Benjamin's nephews and nieces, who the boys are named for him. And that's my husband, my amazing husband, who's the love of my life, who, by the way, I met in my group.
Okay.
But my joy and my sadness live side by side. So it was just 15 years. July 26 was 15 years. Next year, I will have not had him as long as I've had him.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to be at the beach with my whole family. Butch and I take our children and grandchildren to the beach every year. And next year is going to be on Benjamin's 16th angel date. It wasn't deliberate, but now that I look at it, I'm thinking, I think it'll be a Bashir thing.
Absolutely.
I'll be surrounded.
Beautiful thing.
I hope so, Sammy. Thank you. I'll be surrounded by my husband and by my daughters and my sons-in-law and my gorgeous jewels.
I love that. Grand jewels.
Grand jewels.
Remember that. I may steal that.
Remember that. You may steal that. And then working with the people who are newly bereaved, to answer your question, Greer, it does, it's not a triggering thing, but I get it. I get it. I know why you're devastated. I know where you are, in the newly bereaved. And then here I am 15 years down the road. Do I cry every day? No, not every day. But I cry often. And again, that sorrow, that grief is right on the surface.
Right.
But, being in AFSP, I'm honored to be on the first committee that started what we call TAJL, which is through a Jewish lens for AFSP.
Wow.
Yeah, and we do it on the Sunday before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Amazing.
So the Saturday before Thanksgiving is for the whole population, AFSP. We do an International Day of Suicide.
Okay.
But the Jewish community didn't have, those who are Orthodox. They
Yeah.
couldn't do Saturday.
Observe Shabbat. Yeah.
Correct. So we started one. Well, I happened to be on that committee. I didn't start it, but I was honored to be on the committee. And now we do it on the Sunday before. This is our 4th year.
Wow.
And it's international. So we do it through Zoom. It's really remarkable.
I'm sure.
And I've met I have chills now because I've met so many people and a few here in Atlanta.
Wow.
So that's been lovely. I spoke at the Compassionate Friends, which is a group that started actually in the UK many years ago. Parents who have lost children and grandparents and siblings, who have lost siblings or grandchildren. And that's a lovely organization. And I spoke at their conference 2 years ago. And the name of my talk was From SOS, Survivors of Suicide, to Happiness. So that the people who were newly bereaved could see there is joy
Yes.
again.
Yeah.
You can breathe again. You will smile again. And you'll actually laugh. I remember the first time I laughed. It was a couple of years later. In fact, it was 2.5 years later. And I actually was dating my husband now, who I met in my support group. He came in my support group a year after I was there. His wife had taken her life. And we were friends for a couple of years. We were family, actually. We're still family from that group. We still stay connected.
Yes.
We still check
a
in on
bond
each
like
other.
that is unbreakable.
It's quite the unbreakable bond.
Yes.
And so he found out I was separated, and he's a pilot. So he asked me if I would want to fly with him. And I said, well, okay. And so on our first date, he took me to Ireland.
Oh my God.
I know, right? I know. Yeah. And from there,
Wow.
we were hiking one day, the Irish Sea, and we talked nonstop. And he listened and heard me and saw me. And that was amazing to me.
Yeah.
I was in awe of him. I asked him if he was from Saturn because I just, it was amazing. And he had experienced, a similar loss.
Right.
Exactly.
We both could, empathize with one another.
And understand where each one is
Completely.
coming from.
That pain.
And
Correct.
I still cry, as I said. And if I start crying, he just comes and holds me. He doesn't ask me why I'm crying.
Correct.
He knows why I'm crying.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. He understands my loss of my baby boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I understand his beloved first wife. And next month we celebrate our 7th marriage anniversary.
Oh, wonderful. That's
Good
a
for you.
beautiful story.
He's
I'm so
just,
happy for
he's
you.
everything to me. And he adores my children and my grandchildren. And
And they obviously adore him.
thank you, they do.
Yeah.
And you know what? He saved he tells me I saved his life, but it works both ways.
Yes. Yes.
He saved mine. So I wanted to share one more thing too.
Yeah. Please.
So I'm honored to do this. And I was honored to do a PBS special about 2 years ago. A woman that I know she was a television reporter, Jay Watson. She and her husband work for Emory Brain Health, and they do amazing work on brain health. They do videos and amazing work. And she interviewed me. She interviewed some doctors, and then she interviewed some moms and some kids who had either been suicidal or had suicide ideation, and then the parents. I'm the one parent who they interviewed whose child took their life. I was so honored to do that because I got to talk about something that people don't want to talk about.
Correct.
Right.
They're scared.
Yes.
They're, the stigma
Yes.
that Simone spoke of. And we have to be comfortable being uncomfortable, right?
Right.
Yes.
100%. That's life.
That's life.
That is life.
I remember years ago when cancer was the C word, right?
Yes.
I grew up in the 50s,
Correct.
60s. Nobody said that
No
word.
one said that word.
It's so similar, right?
Yes.
It's so similar. And, the S word. And
Even the D word, died.
Right. Or grief.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of it.
All of it.
Even
'Cause
friends
people are
divorced. I mean,
uncomfortable.
it's
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And telling the story, which is what you guys do so beautifully with all of your Grief and Grit podcasts. When you tell your story, it allows the anxiety and the stress of what it is you're living with, that loss, whatever it is, however it came about, it allows you to be able to breathe
Yes.
and to be a little bit lighter. And also, please God, that you help someone else.
Thank you.
100%.
That's why we're here.
And
Absolutely.
that's what I've always said. I said to Greer, if we help one person
Right.
on this journey, then we've helped a nation.
I believe that.
Yep.
For real.
It's
Yeah.
the lemonade. We're trying to make lemonade out of just really bad situations.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And as I've learned over the past 4 years, it's a choice. It's a choice to try to make the lemonade, to try to find the joy in life again and all. But once I found it, it's so beautiful, and I have such an appreciation for the small things.
Right.
Like
Perspective.
the sunset. And yes, exactly.
When I went into my SOS group back in 2010, the woman who started the link, Iris Bolton, who is a huge name in suicide loss and mental health, she started the link, actually. She was the first director.
Wow.
And she's now in her 90s. She lost her son, Mitchell. He went to Galloway. She lost her son to suicide before you could even say the word, right? And she was in our group being brilliant as usual. And she was one of our facilitators once. And she said, "This is a gift." Of course, I wanted to throw something at her.
Right.
What are you talking about? Leave me alone. There's no gift here. And now I look, right? Perspective, Simone.
Yes.
Now I look back 15 years. There's been so many gifts. I mean, I have chills again.
I know.
Right.
There's so many gifts that you get by sharing your grief,
Yeah.
sharing your story, hopefully helping one person if you're able to do that. Hopefully some mom will hear this and she'll be so mindful of her children's demeanor and their anxiety and maybe some depression, maybe some sadness. Maybe it's not huge.
Right.
Maybe it's just a little bit of sadness that just seems a little off. And sit down and talk to them. Sit down, show them how unconditionally you cherish and adore them. I remember one time I told Benjamin in the car, because, the girls were older, and so they were off on their own, either college or grad school or doing their own thing. And I would pick him up from school and bring him home, and I'd say, "You know what, Benjamin? I love you more than anything in the world. Nothing you could do would ever make me not adore you, even if you murdered someone." And he said, "What if I murdered one of my sisters?" I know.
That's such a kid thing to
It's
say.
such a kid thing, right? He was probably 15.
Especially a sibling thing to say.
Sibling thing. And, as I said, he adored those girls and they still adore him. And I know he still adores them. And I thought, yeah, I love that. I hope that he knew and knows that that's the case,
Of course.
Right.
And I do hope that something that someone learns from this is that really focus on those babies and talk about it. Talking about suicide is not going to make somebody take their lives.
Correct.
It's such a
Absolutely.
misnomer.
Yes.
That is so true.
It is.
Yeah.
That's so true.
It's just like talking about sex is not going to make them go out and have it.
Yeah, exactly.
Give them the information.
Right.
Yeah. And, my grandchildren are young right now. They're 7, 6, 5, 4, and 2.
Oh, wow.
They're delicious. And I talk about Uncle Benjamin. We sleep in his room when they spend the night. His pictures are everywhere, his soccer trophies, his theater stuff.
Right.
And I talk about him. And I'm looking forward to when they're old enough. And when they ask me about his mental illness and the anxiety and depression that he hid, and I want them to know that they can talk to anyone, mom and dad, or me, or Butch,
Right.
That's safe.
teachers, that safe space that you can go to and nobody will make fun of you.
Right.
Exactly.
The other thing I was thinking about the other day when I was thinking about what I would say today, you're a child for such a small period of time. That's one thing I wish I'd said to Benjamin was, "Bud, you're just going to be a teenager for such a small period. And then you'll grow up and you get to be an adult, yay, for so long."
Yeah.
You'll move forward, my precious, and you will grow and evolve, and you'll find your people and you'll find your circle, and everything will be better. It will get better. That's what I want everyone to know, even adults. If we're in a situation that seems so huge and heavy, it will get better.
Right.
Absolutely.
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 Right.
And then you speak about your wonderful girls. How did this impact them? How did it impact them then? And do you see it impacting them in their adult lives?
Well, we were all shocked, you know.
Of course.
They were 21, 23, and 25.
Wow.
It came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely shocking. So of course they were devastated. Um, we don't talk about it a lot.
Okay.
I want to honor everybody's space and boundary.
Yeah.
I mean, I could talk about it all day.
Of course.
Right.
Of course.
And my husband and I do.
Right.
Butch and I are able to because we experienced the same thing and we were in the group together. And so
Right.
we know the language and we understand that. So I do try to honor my daughter's boundaries. Their baby brother, I think I can say this, you know, they couldn't wait for him to be born.
Yeah.
And then when he was born, they sat right there and surrounded him. In fact, they were there when I pushed him out.
Oh, wow.
The doctor made them leave because I was saying every cuss word because I didn't have any epidural drugs.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Bless you, woman.
I know. And then they brought them back in. Oh my gosh. And as I said, his feet didn't touch the floor.
Yeah.
So I know that they cherished and adored him and still do. And I know that as all of us,
Right.
we've been devastated.
Right. Yeah. But it sounds like it made you into such a close, loving, compassionate family. And that's the
Thank you.
one thing that I do want to say when we were saying that loss in a weird way is sometimes a gift. Because I think that for going through a loss, I think it does. I think you grow as a person. Again, it's choice. What am I going to just sit back and stay stuck, or am I going to do the incredible work that you're doing? And am I going to grow as a person? Am I going to be an example to other people? It makes us more compassionate, more empathetic. I know for my children it has. So I think those are, if we're looking for any kind of gifts that we can take from losing a loved one, I think those are some of the big things that are here to teach us and here to guide us. And for me right in the beginning when I lost Mark, it was the more when I could help people, it made me feel so much better.
Right.
Right.
I got that comfort. It
Yes.
comforted me
Right.
in helping others.
Right.
It's comforting, and you also find this inner strength. You know, grief is all consuming. It consumes and takes every ounce of fiber, being, energy,
It's exhausting.
everything from you. And when you're able to find that compassion to share with others, you build stronger.
You do.
You come out stronger. And it's almost like the choice of staying and let it continuing to consume, or almost rallying in a way
Yeah.
and overpowering it for this person who now needs you because you have already gone through it.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
And it does for sure. It makes you more compassionate, more
It does.
empathic, more
100%.
patient.
Yep.
Correct.
It gives you different perspective.
Absolutely.
You see what really matters.
Yep. It makes difference in relationships that you have.
Yes. Yes.
Friendships that you may have had before versus new friendships that you've created
Right.
since.
Right.
It does. It changes the changes your whole life.
It
Yeah.
does. It
Yeah.
It
does.
really
There,
does.
there are few experiences that are so transformational where it changes a person and their values and belief systems. Very few things in life do that. Loss is one of those very few things,
Huge thing.
probably the biggest
For
thing.
So
sure.
that would be the gift that Iris Bolton spoke of.
Yes.
You know,
Oh.
even
Yes.
though at the beginning of the journey you go, shut up.
Mhm.
There is no gift.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
how dare you?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And that's why I'm hoping with some of the work I do that the perspective that I have. So for the newly bereaved, who would probably throw a book at me if I said there's a gift, instead of saying that, I say, now that I'm 15 years down the road, I can see more clearly.
Right.
And it is quite a long haul.
Yes.
There's regret,
Of course.
Yes.
there's guilt, and I've learned that, you have to throw away that guilt. Regret is there, and you can have that regret.
Right.
And when I start down the rabbit hole with my regret, the shoulda, woulda, couldas, Butch will stop me
Yes.
in a loving way.
Yeah.
If he's not with me, I'll stop myself. I have to take a breath and stop the regret and just know how I'm going to do better with the people that are here on the planet with me, my children, my amazing husband, my grandchildren.
Right.
I was given a gift of right after Benjamin passed in July of 2010. For 2011, somebody suggested that I go to Ramah to Rome for Passover to
Right.
teach yoga there. I teach fitness classes for a living.
And for our listeners, Ramajarum is a camp in North Georgia, a Jewish camp. Yes.
And they also have programming all year.
Yes.
And one of their big programs is Passover.
Yes.
And somebody said, you need to go, even if you don't work there, go and see Rabbi Harold Kushner of blessed memory now. He wrote When Bad Things Happen to Good
I
People
know.
Yes.
and a million other books, right?
Yes.
So I said, I'm not going, I'm not going, I'm not going. Okay, then I changed my mind because it was only 9 months after Benjamin passed. I didn't really want to,
Even get out
venture
of bed.
out.
Right.
Right. I stopped teaching for about 6 months too.
Right.
And so I went to interview with them and they said I could just come. I said, no, I can't just come. I have to work. I said, I'll teach yoga classes and I'm going to go to every one of his lectures. It was the most incredible 10 days, and I've been doing it every Passover since 2011. It's interesting because I was dropped off. I didn't know one person there. No one came with me. The first person I met walking to the dining hall was Rabbi Kushner.
Stop.
Nobody else was there. That was a Benjamin thing,
Well, oh yeah, that was so meant to
right?
be.
So I
Yeah.
walked up to him. I said, Rabbi, you don't know me. And then I vomited up all my information, sobbing. And he totally got it. He lost his son.
Right.
Yes.
And he invited me to have dinner with he and his wife and his two kids, who
Aw.
also went there, and his lovely wife, Suzette, who is also of blessed memory. Anyway, he went for the next 3 or 4 years before he got ill. And the next year he came up to me and he said, you seem so different. You've already started some healing.
Wow.
And that to me was so huge from this
Wow.
brilliant, brilliant
That's
soul
amazing.
who had been through loss of his precious
Yes.
little boy.
Yeah.
And that was such a huge place in my life and a huge thing that happened. I'll definitely, use that as a flag that showed me how far I'd come and also how much it helped me change and grow and heal.
Amazing.
So that was a huge thing, going to
Yeah.
Ramah Rome, and I still go. They're all
Amazing.
different people there now, but just the space.
Yeah.
When I drive up to that space in Clayton, Georgia, I start crying because this is where I came because of my baby.
It's a place of healing
It
for
is.
you.
It is.
Yes.
And I credit Benjamin
Yeah.
for so many things, and that's one of the things. He helped
Yeah.
me meet Rabbi Harold Kushner.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I've tried to get the Jewish community. I wanted to do, one other thing that I was honored to do. I applied for a grant with Jewish Federation in 2021
Here in Atlanta.
here in
right?
Atlanta, Atlanta Jewish Federation, and I got it surprisingly. And they started a survivors of suicide group, specifically for Jewish moms.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
The first ones were on Zoom because it was during COVID. And there were 4 of us. And then we had these 2 amazing facilitators who were at JFNCS, and they've since left. It was the most incredible 8 weeks. I had already been in my support group. And then we had this support group. And there were 4 women on it, and I'm still friends with them. And so I was honored to get this. Well, somehow this group kind of fell through the cracks. I don't know what happened. And so I was trying to get a grief summit.
Yes.
There's an amazing, I'm sure you guys have heard of David Kessler.
Yes.
He talks about grief,
Yes.
grief.com.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard him speak at several suicide conferences, and I've met him a few times, and he knows his stuff.
Mhm.
Ironically, he lost his son a few years ago, but he started this work way before that
Right.
with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
They wrote several books
Absolutely.
He
together.
was his mentor.
He was
think.
his mentor.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
So,
And for those that don't know, sorry, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, she's really the one that came up with the stages of grief.
and death and dying.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, since then, of course, David has said there aren't those stages of grief. It's quite
Correct.
exact.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but yes,
exactly.
she
Correct.
did.
Yes.
She was brilliant.
It's not linear. And
It's not linear.
Exactly.
That's right. So I wanted to get him to come to Atlanta because I've spoke to his people, and I needed to raise some money, which I've never done before, to come here.
Welcome
I
to
know, right?
our
That's
world.
That's how I met Greer.
Yes.
To have a grief summit, right?
Wow.
And not just suicide. I mean,
Right.
any
Types of
any
loss.
kind
Any
of
kind of
grief,
loss.
right?
Right.
All losses, parent, sibling, job,
Yeah.
Yes.
health, yeah,
We get
Every
it.
child,
Yeah.
right, and spouse. And I knocked on doors in this community, and I'm sad to say I got no response.
Wow.
So anyway, I'm just going to keep trying.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep trying. And I think it's something that you're right. People don't want to talk about it.
Right.
People don't want to spell it out. And sadly, everybody is going to experience grief in their life.
Exactly.
It's like, I think people think it's contagious. So if they
It's denial. Right.
if they
Yes,
surround themselves with someone who's,
Yes.
it's like, oh,
Well,
this
I
is
tell
not
you
going to happen
something.
to me.
They're going to catch it, whatever
Yeah,
it
it's
is.
going to happen to me.
And
You
they're
guys,
gonna, yeah.
y'all have talked about that before.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have to raise my hand. I think I was guilty. I think if I had been around somebody who would take a family somebody had taken their lives, I too would not have said the word. So I'm
Right.
guilty of that,
Right.
right?
No, I think we all are, for sure.
Yeah.
Because,
Absolutely.
again,
And I think that's one of the reasons that we started this is for people who have not been through anything like, loss or whatever, to learn how to be of support.
Correct.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Learn those
To
things.
try to normalize it. And, death doesn't have to be all tears and morbid. We live it every single day with our loss.
Right.
And, we still can be happy, joyful,
Exactly. Enjoy life.
silly, funny. Exactly. We're people, we're humans, and that hasn't changed.
And if you're going to walk the earth, you're
Yes.
going to have loss.
Exactly.
If it's a job
Right.
or your health
Correct.
or a grandparent or
Correct.
sadly
You're
a
gonna-
husband or
yeah.
a child.
Exactly.
You're gonna go through
Sibling,
it.
anyone. It is universal, and it is the most isolating thing in the universe. And nobody, unless you've experienced it, people don't know how to support you in ways that are helpful. I don't want to, they're meaningful.
They are.
But they're not
They just
always
don't know
helpful.
enough.
Exactly. And it's not
Sadly-
their fault.
That's right.
It is not their fault.
They're
People
very
have good intentions.
And they do. And
they're
I'm grateful for
fortunate.
the intentions.
and they're fortunate if they haven't had the kind of loss we've had, right?
Exactly.
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 Consider yourself fortunate.
Right.
If you don't understand what to say to someone who has lost someone dear to them.
Right.
But in that same note, don't lock them out
Correct.
because it's uncomfortable for you.
Correct.
I'll tell you something that I'll remember forever. One of my dear, dear friends, it's you, Ashley. She came to Shiva. She's not Jewish. She came to Shiva every night with her husband and 3 daughters. We had 7 nights of Shiva. And I remember them sitting in the sunroom, and we did Shiva in the living room, and she just sat there. That's all. I knew her presence was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll remember her sitting there for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
A hug, the presence of someone, that's what matters.
Mm-hmm.
Not the food,
Not what they say.
not the cards,
to say
not what they say.
anything.
Nope.
Exactly.
Nope.
It's just
Nope.
that presence.
It's the
Just
presence.
being there.
Exactly.
Just being there
Yeah.
for that person.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I share one
Please.
quote that
Please.
I've since found, and I've heard it so much in these 15 years, and I think it's really important just for people's awareness and education. I saw this quote I wanted to share. Dying from depression is no more cowardly or selfish than dying from cancer. It's losing to a disease that you cannot control, and that causes you to lose control of rational decisions. It only takes a tiny bit of education to understand this. The mentally ill do not commit suicide. It makes it sound like they did it on purpose or that they had a say in the matter, but they don't. Really, their illnesses were in control. The entire concept of committing suicide as it relates to mental illness is nothing short of tragedy. Your son died by suicide. More specifically, he died from his mental illness, which caused him so much torment and suffering that he ultimately succumbed to it. It was not his fault, nor was it his desire. More importantly, it wasn't his choice. Your son did not kill himself. The illness killed him.
It's so true.
That's so true,
Thank you for
Lynn.
sharing.
Thank you for sharing,
It
and thank you
is.
for being here with
Yeah.
us today.
I'm so honored.
Sharing your story.
I'm so honored.
No, and what you do is so honoring Benjamin's memory
It
and
truly
so
is.
honoring the life that he lived.
Thank you.
And I salute you for that.
You're-
It's a beautiful thing that you're doing. And I know you're helping so many people out
So
there.
many. I agree.
And thank
Without
you
a
for
doubt.
being with us today and
Yeah.
for letting us in and letting us know Benjamin and his dimples, and for me, his theater.
Yes.
Thank you.
Beautiful. And
Yeah.
thank you so much, Lynn.
I'm really
I'm
grateful.
honored to be here, and you girls are a gift. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Right back at you.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone. We are just so grateful to Lynn for being here, and we will have more on the topic of suicide, more stories to share. This is an incredibly important topic for everyone to listen to. We hope that you learned a lot from this episode, and we will be back with more. And you can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook at Grief and Grit Podcast. And we are very grateful for you all. Thank you so much. And we'll
Thank you.
talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thanks for listening. If you love what you heard, please follow Grief and Grit and share our podcast with your friends and family.